Yo, what is up guys? Welcome to a new video with me, Fuzzball40. As always, if you're new around here, please do consider subscribing down below, clicking the like button, all that good stuff. It's massively appreciated. Again, you can see the store right now. Here we have 20 packs at the moment. We're looking to have 40, 50. There'll be the last sort of set full send for the Premier League. We've got the premium Premier League upgrades being built. Ideally, we get them opened up on stream today. So make sure you click the link down below. Come over to Twitch to get involved. Now, I cannot stress it enough. Come over to Twitch today. If you've been debating it up till now, you haven't got a Twitch account or you think it's long, today is, again, Fridays at the moment with content drops is the best day to do it. Now, I'm going to go over in this video a sort of amount of detail in terms of what you need to be looking at for La Liga Tots and how you can make a lot of profit very easily, very quickly. But we'll be doing it live on stream, and that's when I can give you the best advice possible. Last week, a lot of us bought into certain cards when they dropped, and people were making hundreds of thousands of coins in the space of about an hour. It was insane. So make sure you get involved in that, whatever you do. And as always, check out foottrading.co.uk for all your trading needs. But La Liga Tots is on its way. That is the one we're getting now. I was going to bring up the loading screen, but I think you've all seen it by now. Rumours that we're getting a Diego Carlos card, because the coordinates are his hometown, apparently. That's one thing that we're looking at for Diego Carlos. But La Liga Tots, I think arguably hasn't got quite the hype that the Premier League has, for example. I don't think any league really does have the hype that the Premier League does. The only one I think this year that could come close to that is going to be the Ligue 1. I really do think that, because you've got Neymar, Mbappe and Ben Yedder in it. All three of them have been very meta cards this year, used by a lot of people. I think that could be an absolute banger. However, with Tots and what we've seen so far from Tots, people have been given monster boosts, like monster boosts. So suddenly, for example, someone like a Diego Carlos, now this is my weekend league team we're going into. Someone like a Diego Carlos could have a lot of hype around him being a Brazilian centre-back. This is what we're running for weekend league this weekend. Again, I'm aiming for elite, but whether or not we get that's another matter. But there's going to be a lot of coins to make tonight. And we'll start off by talking about the most risky one. But it's been one that's paid off for me so far. And that is, when the TOTS is released, the TOTS is genuinely the most expensive at that point. Because obviously, players come out and people list them up for their max price. And you get some people undercutting, but there's only a certain amount of supply of those cards. So TOTS, when it first is released, or Team of the Weeks or whatever, the generic rule is that it is most expensive when it's first released. However, that's also when you can make a huge amount of coins. The reason for this is, and this is probably a trading tip for those of you who have got more coins than other people, for example, there will be loads of tips in this video for all budgets. This is for more high budget, if you've got a lot of coins in your club that's sitting there. EA have been releasing certain TOTS cards with really stupid price ranges, if that makes sense. It tends to happen with every team they release. Now, it's going to sound weird to say this, but just bear with me. The first card they released with a stupid price range was Phillips. Calvin Phillips. And now, his price range was 800,000 coins. And right now, he is about 800,000 coins. So you're probably sitting there thinking, what do you mean? How can he have a bad price range if that's what he sells for? However, Calvin Phillips didn't always sell for 800,000 coins. When you looked at this card, and I looked at it and it first came out, for me, this is a phenomenal card. And I know a lot of people love it and use it. But EA gave me 800,000 coins, and I straight away realised that that price range was too low, because he wasn't coming down in value. He was sitting around the 700 to 800 value coins and just sitting there. And I slowly started to see 710s come off the market, 720s come off the market, 730s come off the market. So I bought into him, and I made a bit of profit out of him. Now, if I'd have held for longer, I would have made more profit out of him, because EA then upped his price range and he was selling for about 1 to 1.2 million, give or take. This is on Xbox. I think on PS it was a little bit higher than that. But Calvin Phillips had a ridiculous price range. So you are able to buy into these cards when they come out and then sell them once the price range updates. Other examples of that was this year was Lasagna. Lasagna had a 200k price range. He was extinct for like a day and a bit. EA upped his price range and he shot up in price and sold him. The funniest one to talk about here is Traore. Now, Adama Traore, in my opinion, is a crap TOTS card. It's a rubbish TOTS card. It is not good at all. There is nothing about this card, in my opinion, that is good for a TOTS card. So if we look at this TOTS card here, it's selling currently for about 300k, maybe probably less than that, in fact. Great pace, great strength, good dribbling, decent passing, terrible shooting. It's not a good card, but Adama had a massive amount of hype around him. So he came out, and I saw him at 600k, and I said when he came out at 600k, this card's not a 600k card, it's not worth that at all. But everyone was taking him off the market, so I managed to get 2 of them, and I was like, right, let's go get 2 and see what happens. His price range got updated, I sold them both at 720, literally about half an hour later, and then his price just came down and down and down and down, because people realised this actually isn't that good a card. But if you see tonight, like for me, Diego Carlos could be one of those cards if he comes out. Now, I'll be bringing out a video with content drop at 6 PM. I'll try and guide you guys as much as I can. But I look at Diego Carlos and I think EA are probably going to give him some stupid 300, 400,000 coin price range because he's a La Liga centre-back and it's not that deep. But he's probably going to be incredibly meta, incredibly fast, incredibly strong, good defence. His normal UEL card had a lot of hype about it. A lot of people used it. If someone like that gets a ridiculous price range, I will buy just 1 or 2. I'm not saying go out and put your whole club on the line, but go and buy 1 or 2 of them. And if he's come off the market and he ends up extinct, you will make coins because you'll be able to list him once that price range is updated and given a more realistic price range. It's risky. There's no point lying to you. It's risky, but there's a lot of profit to be made in it. So keep an eye out tonight for that one card that doesn't have the right price range. EA always do it in every team. There's profit to be made there. If you think the Adama Traores that I picked up for 600, sold for 720, after tax, I'm looking at about 180,000 coins profit, give or take, for literally half an hour's work. 180,000 coins. That's a lot of coins to be making. So that's something to think about. Now we need to look at what happened in Premier League TOTS so we can start to apply that to what happens in La Liga TOTS. Almost certainly we're going to see those 4 rare Premier League upgrades. EA brought them out and it spiked the price. Now, do I think La Liga Rares will do the exact same thing as Premier League? No, I don't. I don't know if La Liga is going to have the hype. I'm saying this now, Friday morning, without actually seeing a La Liga TOTS team. Obviously, there's the obvious one in there of Messi is going to be in there without a doubt. But there may be some ridiculously good players in there as well. We don't know exactly what we're getting, but there are going to be some decent players in there. So something to be mindful of with this is just look at the cards, think about it, and then think, right, are rares worth investing in? Now, in my opinion, they are. If you can buy La Liga rares at discount price, because you'll be able to do it. Lightning rounds come out tonight. There'll be like loads of packs being opened up tonight for it. Buy La Liga rares at discount price. You're limiting your risk. There's very little risk involved in this, let's be honest. If you bought 100 of them and we don't get those upgrade packs, so I'm almost certain we're going to get those upgrade packs because EA aren't stupid. They're going to try and coin sink everyone. If we get those upgrade packs, that very cheap investment, you've gone for 100 of them at, let's say, 750 max is what you're paying, right? You buy 100 of those. If they don't go up, you're losing like 50 coins a card. It ain't that deep. It really isn't that deep. It's what? 100 of them, 50 coins a card is 5,000 coins. However, if they do what the Premier League does, you're looking at about 2,000 coins profit a card. Do I think they get that high? Probably not, but I definitely think they can get towards 2,000 coins. If you can sort of double or even triple your investment, it's an easy one. So definitely look at La Liga rares tonight during Lightning rounds, tomorrow during Lightning rounds, as this goes on. It's a relatively simplistic investment. It's one of those for you that don't have many coins, but it compare very handsomely. I know a lot of people in my chat bought into Premier League rares just in case we got anything. They saw the upgrade packs coming. They were like, do you know what? Let's buy into them. There's a lot of coins we made in it, and they made an absolute killing. For me, I might go full send on it. I might invest. I'm investing in silvers right now. I've got 60 of them sat on my transfer pile, just jamming at the moment. Those 60 cards will eventually be sold on for quite a fat bit of profit. But I'll get those sold, and then I'll start to think, okay, cool, let me paste my coins into other stuff, and it probably will be rares. Purely, number one, because I want to do those packs themselves, because it's good content for you guys to see, but also because there's a lot of profit to be made in them, so I'll be looking to do that. La Liga rares, get involved. Next thing to think about is a generic way the market reacts in terms of what content we get during this week. Now, we got the guarantees of the Saudi League and the Premier League this week, and it sent the market absolutely crazy. Like, the market completely and utterly dropped. Like, I wouldn't say it collapsed, but it was on its knees, about to be swung with a blade, but then it managed to pull itself back up again. And the reason for this is, when the guarantees come out, everyone prior to that coming out starts to sell their TOTS cards. Not only that, it starts to sell other cards, and the market steadily comes down. Over the course of about 24 hours, the market really started to come down quite heavily. And it wasn't just Premier League TOTS, it was all TOTS, it was other cards, it was icons. So to give you an example of that, Mateus Pereira is one that I want to show you. Now, I'm doing Mateus Pereira. Let me get him up. Mateus Pereira. Special, win by now. 101k. Now, this card was one that was massively affected by the market drop. Hugely affected by market drop. And I bought into him at 100k. I sold mine for 135 overnight yesterday, I believe it was. I bought into him at 100k because it was too low. This is a brilliant card. It's a really, really good card. There's no two ways about it. The weak foot lets him down somewhat, but it's a very good card for the price. You're not going to get many that are like this. The reason why it's so cheap is because he's championship, but Brazilian links to a lot of people. But what happened was the market comes down steadily and everyone keeps coming down, and you're able to then buy into certain cards. Now, it all depends on your budget, but what I would do if I was you, I'd start to look at some of the EFL TOTS. I would start to look at some of the lower end TOTS. So you choose people like that and just see what their price starts doing. Start marking it down and just each day get an idea of price. Get an idea of Mateus Pereira's price, get an idea of Soyuncu's price, get an idea of some lower end icons. Even the really crap low end white icons took a massive hit and bounced back, and there was a lot of profits to be made in them. But keep an eye on them this week. I cannot stress it enough. Keep an eye on them and just see what they start to do. And if they come down too low, then I would buy in. I wouldn't necessarily buy in. Let's say, for example, Pereira. As time goes on, my opinion, he may just come down a little bit more as more options become available than him. But keep an eye on him. Keep an eye on some of the Eze, people like that. Just see what they do because they dropped off. But at the higher tier, Laurent Blanc's Moments card on Xbox on Wednesday evening. Was it Wednesday? Yeah, it was Wednesday evening. Laurent Blanc's Moments card on Xbox got us over 820 at one point. We were sitting in chill trading in Discord. He's now up at 1.15. Now, these are relatively safe investments. Now, all trading carries a risk. I cannot stress that enough. All trading carries a risk. But if you've got coins, icons always hold a minimum value. They just do. Especially usable icons. Sol Campbell got down to, I think, 700k, maybe even slightly lower than 700k. His Moments card. The reason I know these prices, I was looking for my centre-back for Weekend League. I've decided to give Rio Ferdinand another chance. He was down 700k. He's now at 897, 895, 891. If you put into a couple of these at 700k, you've made absolute bank. You made something like 300k profit, give or take. 300k profit from two of them. Cannavaro got below 1 million. I'm trying to think of other cars here. But you get the idea. And just keep an eye on the idea on the market. Just look at cards. Look at cards, especially those cards that are decent nation, decent links. Keep an eye on them, whatever you do, because you will start to see over time the market coming down when the guarantees come out. It brings it down, and then it will bounce back. Because once the panic's over, people then start to buy their teams to Weekend League again. The panic's over. Coins come onto the market on Thursday, and everyone sort of buys in. And that's something else to think about. A lot of you guys asked me about how to save coins when building a team. In my opinion, the play in building your team, and I got it right this week, was to buy on Wednesday. The reason being for that, everyone waits for the guarantees to come out to see what they get in their packs. That means that no one's buying the cards, they're putting them on the market, they keep going on the market, and the price gradually comes down of the cards on the market. There's more supply than demand. Thursday comes, everyone gets their picks, everyone gets their cards, and then everyone buys their Weekend League teams, and the price shoots up. The Richarlison, for example, got down as low as 1.05 on Xbox. Last I checked, he was at 1.3 plus. It might be down a little bit because last night some of these cards did steadily come down because of the Premier League premium upgrades. Min by now, let's do 1 million, and then max by now 1.2, 1.1. So that's his normal card. 1.2, any chance? See that he's up. He's massively up. But he was a 1.05 at one point. And look, he's absolutely spiked. I packed this guy, so I'm happy I packed him because I've got a 1.4 million coin player now. But look, he's up at 1.34. Again, another player, if you bought into him, you'd make bank. So just be mindful of that. It's just something to keep an eye on. Whatever you do, just keep an eye on it without a doubt. But now we also need to talk about the team itself. Now, we don't really know too much about the leaks. I've seen a few on Twitter. I definitely think, look at Dennis Foot Trader. He's one of my favourite Twitter accounts to follow. Dennis Foot Trader with one N. He's one of the most consistent leakers this year. If you're into leaks, if you wanted to be surprised, then be surprised. If you're trading, I'd say go and have a little look at it. But it's something to be mindful of. The cards themselves can be valuable in terms of not the TOTS cards, they're gold cards. Now, we don't really know what's going to be in there, but just be mindful of those cards in the team of the season that will get TOTS and it's going to affect their league SBC, right? So, if, for example, we're looking at the ones that I want to look at, if we look at Granada, Granada's a relatively expensive La Liga team, okay? It's a relatively expensive La Liga team. It's not quite as expensive as Mallorca, for example, but it definitely does have a decent value in that sense. And when you look at Granada, the most expensive positions for Granada, I think they pay, it's a 4-2-2 for them. So it's 4 at the back, 2 CDMs, 2 cabs and 2 strikers. When you look at Granada, the most expensive players for them are their fullbacks. Now, right now, they're not expensive because we got silver supply last night. Market dropped off. We had 2 days in a row of silver supply, which is very, very nice. But right now, their left backs aren't that expensive. So we look at Uni and players like that. Quinny, I think it's called, actually, not Uni. Let's have a little look and see what they're at the moment. Well, to be fair, actually, they are quite high. They are quite high. Their left backs right now are 3,000 coins, okay? So not everyone will go and buy this left back. Some people are smart enough to realise that you actually can use their left mid, who is Darwin Machis, I believe is his name. He is, yeah, Darwin Machis is his name, right? So this card here could potentially get a TOTS. He's had an inform and I think a Team of the Week Moments inform. I don't know if he has had one yet. I wouldn't buy him yet to be certain. There's not enough leaks. But people use him to bring down the cost of the Granada SBC. And there's a potential that he rises in price. There is a potential that he rises in price. What you are on the lookout for is those teams that you know are silver heavy. So Osasuna, Mallorca, Valladolid, Granada. or any random sort of club that has only silvers in that position, and you want to essentially buy into those players when they come out. The reason I say this, it's a proven method. Every single year it works. Have a look at Dean Henderson right now. He is a gold goalkeeper for Sheffield United, and he is currently 10k. He is absolutely ridiculous at the moment. He has 10,000 coins. There's one on the market, he's 10,000 coins. Now, he's an extreme example of this because Sheffield United are very expensive as it is. They're very, very expensive. They've got their wingers, their wing backs are expensive, their central midfielders are expensive, their strikers are expensive. But what people used to do with Sheffield United was use one of their goalkeepers. So they have other goalkeepers that are silver. Your goalkeeper, League, Premier League, Club Sheffield United. They use the goalkeeper to fill in one of the expensive positions because you can have two players out of position for this basically. You can have two players out of position. There's Dean Henderson there. We're going to buy him now because I know he's 10k. And to be fair, they're all up to 10k, which is ridiculous. Let's list them to 10k, you should sell. How much is Eastwood at the moment? Go up on that as well. So they'd use this guy here to fill the positions up for them, right? To fill the positions up for Sheffield United. Right now, you can't do that because Dean Henderson's not around to cover the goalkeeper spot. So the price of Dean Henderson has absolutely spiked, and the price of Eastwood has spiked, when normally they don't hold that value at all. They don't hold anywhere near that value. So just be on a lookout for those cards tonight. And again, I'll try and put it in my video as much as possible in terms of players that may go up. Again, understand there's always a risk with it, but just be mindful. If you can see a card later in this sort of period of the Liga Totssf, they can hit very high values and you can make massive profit from very little. I mean, we're talking paying 800-900 coins for a card and selling them for 6,000-7,000 coins. It's happened so many times this year. You can make massive, massive, massive profit from doing that. So keep your eye on that. Final thing to talk about is the La Liga League SBC. Now, every single league so far has had a League SBC and there's been hype around those League SBC cards. Now, easily by far, the most sought after so far has been Ben White for the Championship. It has seen the price of Championship Silvers absolutely rocket. It's a sensational card. But the Premier League got theirs. In my opinion, it's a good card in Maguire. It's not terrible, but they needed to give him more of a pace boost. It's not that usable at this point in the game. Ben White obviously there. We've also had the Saudi League, I believe, who got Al Sommer. For all intents and purposes, he's meant to be a brilliant super sub off the bench, so people have been hyped about him. Relatively hyped anyway. But it's just be mindful of this. If La Liga Santander gets a very good card, it's gonna increase demand. However, just standardly, the hype around the new League SBC card saw the Premier League get to unprecedented levels in terms of the value of those cards. Like, unprecedented. Norwich sent CDMs, most of Norwich, in fact, for most of the week, has been extinct. You've not been able to compete Norwich unless you pack the players yourselves. Centre-backs at the moment are extinct. CDMs at the moment, they're not extinct. They are at... Well, the silver CDMs are at 10,000 coins. Ignore the gold. You don't want to be not interested in gold. Silver CMs at the moment are pretty much extinct. There's one on the market. And left mids for Norwich at the moment, I think they were extinct when I last checked. They are extinct. And that builds hype around that. Now, with La Liga coming, what you're going to see is, again, people pack stacking and more silver supply taken off the market. It's going to be continually drained off the market. And the price of that SBC is going to rise exponentially. It's going to continue to rise as people come to complete it. Now, La Liga doesn't have the best packs. It's got alright packs. Hasn't got the best packs, but it's got similar sort of packs to the Premier League. But if we look at Mallorca right now, I told you about this last night if you watched last night's video. Mallorca defenders right now, let's have a look at what they're doing right now. Mallorca defenders are already up. They're extinct already. No, they're pretty much extinct. They're already up at like 9,000 coins. Any bit of silver supply possible. If you see these guys get down to 6-7k, which last night they did. I bought a few of them last night. Go and buy them, whatever you do. It'll make you a huge amount of profit. An absolutely monstrous amount of profit. But it's also something to be mindful of. If you are League SBC grinding, grind harder this week. Make sure you get the right players you get. But also look for that little bit of silver supply that means you can complete teams. Because it's going to be a lot harder to complete them. It's no coincidence that EA are starving us, other than the last 2 days, of silver supply. Because it stops people from grinding the League SBCs in the way that they want to. It's so important that you keep an eye on it. What will be interesting to see now is if the Premier League hype was around the potential League SBC card, or it's just generically, this is a route that we're going to see now for all the League SBCs. We're going to see them slowly but surely come up in price. If the Premier League does not come down, I'm going to be inclined to buy in heavily to all the leagues and just leave them unassigned for now, because that will give me an opportunity to see if they spike. Some Dusseldorf right backs are at about 3-4k with supply. If they get up to 10, 11k or whatever it is, the price range of them is, there could be millions to be made from this. So it's something to be mindful of. But that is how you need to invest for the Liga Totssf. There are massive, massive profits to be made here. We're not talking about 10, 15k at a time. If you invest right, there's no reason why daily you could be making that sort of 100k, 200k and making massive, massive profit to buy any of these TOTS players that you want. But that is going to be the end of the video. If you are new around here, please do consider subscribing down below, clicking the like button, all that good stuff. It's massively appreciated. But for now, lads, I'm out. Peace out. I'll speak to you soon.